Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to take cuttings from the hardy hibiscus behind me. This is the Midnight Marvel hardy hibiscus, and you can see I'm 5 feet, so it is taller than me. I'm guessing it's about almost 6 feet and growing, and 5 feet wide across. So it's pretty massive, and this is a great shrub to have. Now, we planted it all the way in the back of the garden, knowing that it could get this big. I've never had it this big before. This is the first year that it's been this big, and it is beautiful. I'm going to turn the camera around. I do have a little bottle with some water for the cutting so it doesn't sit in nothing for a while. It just needs to be put in water and soaked for a little bit before we actually get it into the medium. Also, I have my pruning shears. I use the steel pruning shears, but you can use whatever you have that can give you a nice smooth cutting. Let's get started. So I put my little bottle of water down here. I'm gonna go in. What I would like to do is get some cutting from mainly on the inside, just to thin it out a little bit. You can see it's really bushy, and a lot of the side stems, you can see like this one here, it's going to have these flower buds, but it's going to require a lot more room than what it has in here to grow. So you can either go in at the base of where you see it, which is like right here, and you can just kind of snip it off, like pull it off like that, and it comes off very easily. And then I'm going to, of course, take off all the buds so it doesn't burn its energy on there, and then just stick it in the water container that I have for now, just so it can, make sure that it doesn't dry out. So go in there, and I've got a couple more I want to get in here. So basically, I'm just trying to thin it out. You can see it still has a whole bunch of new branches that it's sending out, but on the outside I'm going to leave them that way. It'll be more showy on the outside, but like I said, on the inside it is definitely a lot harder to give the room it needs in order to grow. Like over here you can thin out a couple, and you can see every single branch that it's throwing out has buds on it. So this thing has been blooming since, I want to say, June. It really needs the hot heat in order to sprout out, and it comes literally from the base of the ground. So this one here. So you can use your pruning shears or just go in and snip it. It'll come right off. With your finger, you just grab it. And then, let me show you with the pruning shears. Sorry, it's a little bit harder trying to do this one-handed. So with the pruning shears, you just go in. See how this one back here? There's a couple of them. Just going to go in and cut it. So this one's a lot easier than the other one. Go in at the base, cut that one off. Make sure you grab what you cut and bring it out. And then put it in your little water bottle container that you have. Get it down there. And I'm going to do quite a few to try to thin it out. I have this one over here and also this one on this side. So I'm going to try to go in there, thin it out as best as I can, making sure that I don't destroy it, because we still have at least 2 months of summer. I garden in zone 8A in Alabama, and we don't really get our cold frost first hit. I mean, it doesn't even cool down until October, and then November is usually our first frost. But aren't they beautiful? So I need quite a bit of cuttings to root, so then I can plant them next year. I would like to create a hedge in the front of the garden. And since they get so big, and bushy, it'll be a nice hedge out front. That way I'll keep prying eyes from looking in. And while I'm doing this, look at all the butterflies. The butterflies are coming in. Now this is a butterfly bush that I've trained into a standard form, and we had so much rain I had to actually stake it up with this plastic tie. Seems to be doing great though. I really like the standard form. This one I trained, and then the one over here I've also trained. It is really bushy if you let it get bushy, but you just go in, and I'll make another updated video on how to do that. So it's really easy, but it creates a really beautiful upright structure, and I really enjoy it. So we'll see. This is looking from the back side of the hibiscus. Just got to get in there. I'll take a couple more. You can see the one that's just like throwing its branches out. Just cut it. I'll put it down on the ground for now. Going back in. I'm going to cut this one at the base over here. Sorry, it is so bushy. Kind of hard to even see when I'm in here. So you just go in, thin it out. This one will be a nice one here. And you can also top prune, but I've realized with the harder hibiscus, you could see where it had flowers down here. These are where the flower nodes are that comes out. And then it sent out more shootings from the tip. And you can see, look at how full, and look at how many more buds is coming out. So this one, I don't tip prune it as much as I do a couple other ones that I have in the garden. See this one over here? All of this, these were the flower, like the base of where all the flowers were, just like up here. And then from here, it just kept on growing and keep on sending new shoots. Look at this one. So this one is about past its prime. If you don't want to leave it on there, you can just prune it off. This one, this is kind of an example of if you leave it and don't deadhead it, it'll sit and dry up. And depending on your rain, it'll stick to the plant. Kind of makes it look unsightly, but if you don't want to come in and deadhead it, that's totally fine too. So look, I've got new buds here that's forming. This one will be ready for tomorrow. These ones are nearly spent. This one is a fresh one for today. So even though they only last a day, you definitely get a whole bunch from it. Here's a couple more over here. Just deadheading that one. See how this one, sometimes if you leave it on too long, it'll dry on the flower, like these little buds, and then sometimes the buds won't open up right. So sometimes it's good to just remove them if you see them. And I usually take off the seed pods. I've realized for some reason the seed pods aren't forming on these, and I would like to collect seeds because I've never done it by growing them from seed. But for some reason the seed pods, before they get ready, they're already like literally just falling off. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Here again, these are spent, so just cut it off. And it looks like I did pretty good pruning in there. Couple more, I guess I can go in. See all of these inside. It is so thick in here. So I'm going to cut that one out. Gonna go in and cut this big one out. Sometimes you definitely do sacrifice a lot of buds on each stem, but I'm willing to sacrifice it to get a couple more. And I think that one's fairly decent. Maybe take this one right here. There we go. Got a couple more. And a couple more. And then we're going to go stick it in the water container. And I got to come out. I know, I've got to cut the grass. Just stick it in there. We're almost making a bouquet. So I'm gonna actually go to the other one and do more. I won't film that one and bore you with it, but basically that's what I'll be doing, and then we'll get to the propagation table, which is really an area where you have available, because I've been rooting all summer long and my area is completely taken up. So I'm going to keep on doing it for a little bit more, and then we'll be right back. Hey everyone. Okay, so back to the propagation area. I just made a really little simple over here with a little bench. I started cleaning off some of the cuttings already. This side over here is what I've already done, and these are the cuttings I will use. I left some over here just so I can show you kind of more in depth of how to do it, more detailed, and then we will just pop this into here. This is just a potting soil mixture medium that I use. It basically has quite a bit of perlite in it, topsoil, and just a little bit of here and there. It doesn't really have a lot of fertilizer in it. When you start out doing the cutting and trying to get it to root, it doesn't require much nutrition to root. After it's rooted, that's when you want to get it into some nicer medium mixture so that it does have some kind of nutritional value so the plants can start growing. But for the intense purpose of just trying to root it, you don't really need much, just some kind of medium to hold it. You can also just use perlite, which I find works great for the hydrangeas and a couple other things, the roses especially too. But the hardy hibiscus, I'm going to just use this medium here. So let me get the camera set up and then we will start. Okay. So hopefully you can see me. I'll be coming over here. I've got dogs and puppies over here wanting to join me. So basically, you have a cutting like this. And what you want to do is remove all the flower, the buds, so it doesn't use your energy into rooting, into trying to flower these. And I'm going to also just cut it right at the tip. So this one already has a little bit of streak from where that node is. I'm just going to pull it and pull this one as well. And then the other one I'll actually just cut. So it's just going to look like this. You can actually half this, or you can use the whole thing. Really up to you. As long as you get a little bit of node over here where it can actually send root. This is where the most concentration of hormones, so you want it to push new roots from here. What I could do is just cut it right here and create two cutting. One at the top and one at the bottom. But this is pretty tender cutting, so sometimes it'll take, sometimes it won't. So you can do whatever you think is best for you. I think I'm just gonna cut mine. Gotta always cut above a node, but right below one, so you can strip it like this. And right here is where the concentration of hormones are gonna be. I'm gonna actually just stick it like that. So I'm going to put this in the water until we're ready. So here's another one. This one you can actually do two fairly well. Take off all the buds. Cut it at the tip. And then here, I'm going to cut it right here. And then here, I'm going to strip here. And this top leaf, I'm just going to cut a little bit of it. Just leave a little tiny bit, and that'll be another piece that you can stick down. It has two concentrated node that you can stick in. So here is my pot. Just gonna stick this in. Now you can use rooting hormone if, sorry, can you see me? I just realized I was standing up. Now you can use rooting hormone if you want to. I don't find it necessary. I mean, my chance might be better if I do, give or take. It's supposed to help with the rooting, so I don't see why it wouldn't not help. But I just don't have any, and I rarely ever use the rooting hormones. So I'm just gonna stick it in there, make sure that the nodes where I strip is actually in the soil. There's another one here. And you keep on sticking until you get it all in. Now what you can also do is put them in individual pots, so then that way when it's a puppy, he's dreaming. So what you do is if you put this in separate potting, so if you make a smaller pot like this is just an example. So if you do this, just stick 1 or 2 cutting in there and you can leave it like that, and then springtime you can actually plant it. The way I do it, it's actually more of a space saver. And then what I'll do is I'll go in, probably check out to see if it's got rooted. If it does, then I retransplant it into its own pot. So that's something you can do. It takes a little extra step, or you can just put them in its own pot. But individual pot, of course, it's gonna use up more space, which I don't really have, nor do I have the amount of medium that I can use to put them in individually. So I find this method works really well for me. Well, I think there's like 30 cuttings in here. So, quite a bit of cutting. Always 100% not foolproof. But I think this will be enough to get me a head start on the hedges. All right, so there's quite a bit in there. I think that'll be good to get it started. And then we'll come back and check on this in a couple months and see how it does. And then if it's rooted, we'll put it in its own in a pot, let it grow in the spring, summertime, and then we'll transplant it. All right, you guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this video has been very helpful for you. I've had successes with this where I've gotten plants and not having to spend the money on getting each individual plants from the nursery. I've realized that plants from the nursery has been really expensive. I know it takes time and effort to grow it, but again, for the cost of how much I'm going to need for the edging or hedging that I like at the front entrance, this is probably going to save me quite a bit of money if they take. And if not, it's a good learning experience to see if it's the medium that didn't work, or if I didn't water it enough, or I kept it too dry. So we'll have to just see throughout the progress. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.